about the issue of African Americans versus Africans, the way Africans see African Americans and the way African Americans see Africans. The reason why we need to discuss this is what is really the issue, the tension that we have amongst ourselves. With me to talk about this problem is Nadine and Luna and Miss Kim. What is it about African immigrants that African Americans find totally absurd?
Well, I'll give you an instance. When I was young and in school, when they taught us history and they showed movies and books and images of Africans in Africa, they always showed us images of Africans who were half naked, running through the jungle with spears. And it's like you started to believe that. Or they showed, them hungry and saying for, $5 a week you could feed this starving child. So my mother used to tell us, eat your food.
Because some people are starving.
There's a child starving in Africa. And I believe that, so I would eat my food because I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish we could share with them.
Oh.
But of course, I was a child and that was all just, a lot of it is a myth. And as I got older, I traveled the world and I met a lot of beautiful, rich, intelligent Africans that were clothed just like me, that were educated, that were intelligent, that had more money than I could, make. And they were warm and loving and we got along perfect. So
and look at me, I'm an African who's wearing clothes.
That was my experience,
And on National Geographic, they simply show us all the worst things about Africa, and I don't think it is fair. It's time to stop portraying Africans as people who are desperate, who are hungry, who are totally malnourished, and who have zero common sense. Because look at me, we are having this show right here in Scottsdale, the most livable city. So tell me what your opinion is about the way you're African American, right? How do you view Africans who are very successful in the United States? And Miss Kim as well, you can go ahead and talk to me about your view of Africans while she deliberates on this particular topic.
Well, it's very interesting. My ex-husband, he is from the country of Haiti. And so when I met him, I was just so fascinated with the accent because I just loved the way that he talked. Oh. And so he thought of other things. So that meant we ended up getting together and we had two beautiful children. But before I met him, the way that I used to view minorities or people from overseas.
Yeah, the immigrants were called. Some of them called immigrants.
I always say that they are very smart, intuitive people because we here, and I'm an African American woman, and it's just hard for me to say it because I'm a black woman, and I don't consider myself as an African person.
Yes,
I just don't. And
yes.
so I'm just a black woman, and I just so happen to meet an African man.
Yes.
And so,
it's okay. So Haiti is not in Africa, but the Haitians actually originated from Africa.
Well, this is what my thought was.
1793, that was when they moved all the way over there. They kept some of them. Yeah, some of them came through Cuba. Some went straight to Haiti. Some went to the Dominican Republic. But we're all still the same seeds from the same continent. Yes, absolutely.
And so what I was thinking that when they come over to this country, and I was born and raised here in the United States, I always said that they always have a lot of money, and they always know how to budget and how to maintain. I love when the immigrants come over, Mexicans, Africans, Chinese. I don't care what immigrant that comes over here, they know how to commune and come together as a whole. We here, Europeans are here, black people are here, Mexicans that are born and raised here, they just do not know how to come together as a whole. And this big, beautiful home that you have here, I can imagine a family that's just fresh from overseas.
Yes, like Liberia or Ghana or Mauritania.
And they will come here, and it's one big happy family.
Yes.
Everybody work together. I have what, 5 siblings?
Mhm.
We can't even stay in the same room, let alone in a house. And
That's because our family structure is totally different, and we have very severe, I will use the word severe, serious sense of African pride in our families. Our families have serious bonding, like crazy glue, and kinship.
And that is so awesome. It's
Yes,
awesome. It's
yes.
very awesome. And I really love that. And I just love this talk show that talks about being positive. And that is the most positive thing. These people are, some of them in some of the neighborhoods in Africa are poor, but they come together as a whole.
Yes.
And that's what I really like as far as my experience, what I experienced being married to my Haitian husband. He wanted everybody to come stay at our house.
Aww.
And I was like, I don't want all these people in my house.
Because as Africans or African Americans, some of us are actually very, very hospitable. The Africans love to have everybody over and cook for everybody. And that's the way it has always been with us. But sometime we started to learn from the Caucasians, oh, you can't have, who are all these people?
Right.
They started to separate us.
Yes.
And as you were saying during the break, how did this separation start? You tell me. You've been telling me about this. There's a way that they started teaching us that we cannot all stay together. Because when we live together in one house or in one big commune, they think of us as, okay, this family is of the zoo. There are way too many children. It's actually okay to go out there, and if you see little Jamal out on the street and he just came back from school, bring him into your home and give him something to eat. And that's how it was in Atlanta, Georgia. When I lived in Atlanta, we had a communal spirit.
Right, because it takes a village to raise a
A child, like even
and
Hillary Clinton
we
knows
lost
that.
that along the way, the African American family, and I'm sure the Caucasian family and you know the Italians and everyone else, they've lost that along the way. But there was some point where we were able to be together and take care of not only your children, but the children running around the neighborhood and keeping everything quiet, keeping everything safe. And then the government steps in and they're like, well, you can't paddle your kid anymore, and you can't discipline this way or discipline that way, so that kind of makes a divide. As far as family, me as a black woman, I come from a very strong black family. And we all say, I love you, we all, we talk on the phone, we get together, we cook together, we clean together, you know, and then we go back home to our separate homes. But we are very close-knit family, and we believe, you know, that's what makes you stronger, you know, being one. And it goes back to what Ms. Kim is saying, because you do have a lot of poor immigrants that come to America, but as soon as they're given the opportunity, they don't play with it. They take it and say, hey, you, we're gonna put all of our money together in this pot, we're gonna open up a little market or a corner store or what have you, or dry cleaners, and they make it work, and these people survive.
Yeah, the Chinese are doing that, the Japanese, Koreans, as well as Liberians, Ghanaians, and the Mauritanians, the Ivorians, and all the other countries in Africa. And it's a continent of 54 countries. We are not one country full of states. So there's a huge difference. Africa has over 880 million people.
Many languages.
Many languages, such as over 250 languages in Nigeria alone. And then in other African countries, at least 15 to 25 languages. So it's not just one, you know, ethnic little state that we are dealing with. And when we come to America, we are not just primitive Africans or primitive immigrants trying to survive. We are people who come from a culture that we are proud of. We come from a place that has good food, good roads, and great buildings.
And city life,
And city life,
yeah,
absolutely.
The buildings, the
cities.
hotels, and I found that out too, not only with my African friends, but I own timeshare. So I have a book and it says, you know, you can go to Ghana and stay at this 5-star resort.
Yes.
And it's like, what? They have
Five-star
resort? Yeah,
resorts.
these things
The
that,
Hilton,
you know, that,
right?
yeah, right,
Yes.
So
We have all that. So we are going to demonstrate what other immigrants from different countries think. We shall take a break on this view of what immigrants and what Caucasians think of African Americans and how African Americans view Africans. So this immigration issue, we'll just round it up and just take a break. Staying positive with Lynda, and don't you touch that dial.